Welcome back, welcome back. This is Art with Impact Gaming Center doing some Riftbound coverage on this not so beautiful Thursday fall evening. Coming in on round two. Got Caleb playing some Ahri against Derek, piloting Sett. We've got our battlefields revealed, doing some opening hands. For those of you joining us on YouTube or just tuning in on Twitch, we're going to be covering Riftbound weekly now. Game's getting some popularity. Magic players love it. New players love it. Obviously, a lot of League of Legends fans out there loving it as well. The only problem with the game right now is you can barely find the cards anywhere, but hopefully that'll get better. But whether you're joining us for the first time or tuning back in, don't forget to follow us on Twitch. If you're joining us on YouTube, hit that like, follow, subscribe, and notification bell helps us quite a bit. And hey, come in and join us at Impact Gaming Center in Fairview Heights, Illinois. Just 20 minutes away from downtown St. Louis. Got everything you could be hoping for. All right, getting into the action already. We got Sett playing that Soren Scout, followed by a quick, immediate champion Ahri coming down from the champion zone. Soren Scout moving in, pushing Derek to 1 victory point. And reinforcing it with a Kiana. Second time we've seen Kiana on stream today. Great card. Kiana's going to trigger on that Conquer. And pass it back over to Caleb. Both these players are 1-0. They both won their first round. They are top seat right now. This should be a pretty good match. Ahri versus Sett's a pretty good matchup. Ahri, I suspect, is going to be in more of a control seat while Sett tries to take the aggressive advantage, but got Ahri pushing in and probably hoping to hold that for some Ahri triggers. That, of course, is Ahri Inquisitive that we've got up right now. That is not the Ahri that gets you some extra victory points when you hold. If I could find my Riftbound card, there we go. Got Kiana moving in against the Ahri there. Kiana's going to automatically get that -2. And then the on guard is going to make quick work of that attacking Kiana, letting Ahri hold that point. Caleb is tearing through his runes, though. Looking a little light there for turn 3, down to 2 runes. That's one thing Sett is really good at in this game, is just bleeding your opponent of their resources, forcing them to make inefficient trades, you know, saving his own units, his own buffed units with his legend ability, and just kind of really grind you out. So even charming in that scout, you know, not the best situation, getting that scout death knell trigger. And Ahri hiding a card. Trying to hold on to that point as long as he can. But you can see they're kind of laughing back and forth. Caleb's side of the battlefield, no runes whatsoever, facing down Sett 6. Pretty ugly. Resource management, a big part of Riftbound. Oh, and I'm glad to hear the volume's better this round, Cassie. I am on top of the microphone. Those of you that know me know I'm not the loudest guy in the room typically, so I just gotta be on top of it, I guess. All right, buffing the Sett champion. Thinking about it anyway. There we go. Nice expensive showstopper from Derek. Pushing that into the Ahri. We'll probably get to see what that hidden card is. Yeah. Derek pointing out the double Ahri defensive procs that are gonna nerf Sett down 3 might. Derek's a good friend of mine. We've played a lot of Riftbound together. We were playing a lot of Riftbound before the game even came out with proxy decks and things. And this is a matchup Derek has played a lot because I played a lot of Ahri myself in our early testing. So he knows this matchup pretty well. Just gonna spin that buff. Well, he's thinking about it. Yep. And pass it back over to Caleb. Make sure my score's updated here for you guys. 2-1. And Caleb's got some runes on the battlefield again. And just like that, right back to Derek, who scores that hold point up to 3. Being that far in the hole with runes is going to make this a tough comeback. See another Kiana in hand for Derek. Here comes the pit rookie. Gonna buff the Kiana, it looks like. And then passes it back over to Caleb. See some buffs in Caleb's hand. Caleb's going to take that free and easy point, bringing himself to 2. And then think about his life decisions a little bit. Another big night of Riftbound here at Impact Gaming Center. It's cold, it's rainy, it's misty, but we still got almost 20 people here for tonight's Riftbound. So if you're a Riftbound player from the local St. Louis area, come on out, join us on Thursdays. It's a good time. We got great players here, long-time Magic players that have picked this up as their second game or maybe even switched entirely to make Riftbound their primary game. Very strategic, a lot of fun. We got some great players here, so come join us. And if you can't, join us at impactgamingcenter.gg online. Caleb shaking his head, looking at his cards, not liking what's in his hand. Stream froze a little bit there on the play cam. Sorry about that. Looks like it's bounced back. Got a Defy coming down. Get a little counter magic going. And Kiana getting pushed back off that point, saved by Sett's Legend ability, spinning that buff. Said that's really what Sett is out to do, what you just saw there, forcing resources out of his opponent's hands to make inefficient trades so that Sett can just come in and save them anyway. There comes a Fiora. One of the best cards in the Sett deck. She's mighty. She gets an all assortment of keywords. Makes her a pretty tough unit to shake off of a point. Especially when Sett's ready with his legend ability to save her. We've got a buffed pit rookie and a hidden card down holding that point over there. Do apologize this week about the slowly updating victory point totals. Always trust what's on the tablet there in the play area. I'll try to keep them updated as we can. Should be synced, but we're having some technological issues. Hopefully we'll have that figured out by next week. And pass it back over to Derek, who bumps up to 5. I think we can suspect that Fiora to get buffed. Oh, get a sabotage. For those Magic players out there, it's almost exactly a duress. Looks like he's taking the discipline. I think that was the only thing he could take. I know there's oh yeah, 1,000-Tailed Watcher, Tasty Feyfolk in hand, so that was the only thing he could take. I'd be surprised if we don't see that Fiora get buffed here this turn. And Caleb's control over that second point is tenuous. Yep, here comes Kiana, hoping to take that point and trigger herself, which we are going to see as Derek moves up to 6. Derek's going to take that card draw off of the Kiora trigger. Looks like we got a Soaring Scout coming down, probably going to reinforce that battlefield over there. And passes back. Derek knows what's coming in the hand with the Tasty Feyfolk and the 1,000-Tailed Watcher, 2 very strong units. That could start to turn things around. Derek's got a few cards in his hand of his own. Must not have any of his buffing sources, or that Fiora would be buffed. Sure. 1,000-Tailed Watcher coming down, nerfing everything in the field by 3. And we're going to try and push him off the points here. Interesting moving into the battlefield with the hidden card. That hidden card's probably a Hidden Blade, if I had to guess. And so it is. Going to Hidden Blade that 1,000-Tailed Watcher. It's an easy decision. Hand Caleb a couple cards from the resolution. Yeah, we're doing some math here with the buff, with the 1,000-Tailed Watcher. 1,000-Tailed Watcher is an effect that just happens and happens once. It's not like the 1,000-Tailed Watcher dying makes its effect go away or anything like that. Riftbound doesn't work that way. So unless I'm missing something, I believe what we're looking at is a 1-Might Pit Rookie against the 2-Might Clockwork Keeper. So Derek's, I think, deciding whether or not he wants to save him. I assume he probably will. Yep. And holds there for the 2 after using Sett. That is game 1, and we are going to move to some sideboarding action. quick look overhead here. Got plenty of people in the store playing some Riftbound tonight. Got a few people casually playing some Commander. Got a couple of our local favorites in the back playing some Lorcana as well. Always something happening here at Impact Gaming Center with our beautiful over 100 person seating area. You can see there on the left just hiding. We got some folks, I believe, playing some Warhammer. Yep, got some guys playing some Warhammer here. There's always tons of Warhammer guys at the store as well. If you're a Warhammer fan, especially a 40K fan, we've got folks playing 40K here at the store almost every single night. So come up and join us for that as well. Even when we don't have sanctioned events going on, there is always something happening in the store. You can always check out our event page at impactgamingcenter.gg to see what sanctioned events we got going on. And it looks like we're getting ready to transition back for game 2. Derek got the first one there. Shuffling up, we got our they fight the tablet that is technically in a Magic the Gathering app, so they just got to set themselves down to 0 life, quote unquote, so that they can be at 0 victory points. Hammering done. Got some cuts being offered, and they're getting ready to go. All right, quick Clockwork Keeper coming down here from Caleb. Followed by a first mate. See an Hourglass. I think maybe a Thousand Tail Watcher in hand for Caleb. A little hard to see our players' hands. Tasty Fae, folks. Onya's Hourglass. Maybe another Clockwork Keeper. Clockwork Keeper moving in. Need to reset our scores. Sorry about that. That does push Caleb to the first victory point of the game. Reinforcing that with his Ahri. And quickly, just like last game, Caleb tearing through those runes. But hiding a quick card. That's going to be a tough point to shake off, at least early, for Derek with his Sett. You can see they're chatting. Derek already rubbing his head as he's trying to figure out how he's going to be able to shake that point from a Clockwork Keeper, an Ahri legend ability, and that hidden card. There's a whole lot of might hiding on that battlefield that isn't immediately apparent. Derek's saying it's pretty good. Pretty good. There's Kiana. I've been seeing lots of her tonight. I don't think we've had a game in tonight's tournament where we haven't seen Kiana. A showstopper. Gonna buff that Kiana up. Derek doing some math thinking here. Showstopper, of course, an iconic card for all Sett decks. Very, very good. Buff a friendly unit in your base, and then you get to move it to a battlefield. One of the most expensive cards in the Sett deck. Might be the most expensive card in the Sett deck. Sett decks usually run at least 2. So Kiana's running in. Going to have to deal with total of -3 might from the Ahri Legend plus Champion. So Derek may just be trying to throw Kiana in to clear the opposing Ahri Champion and then save it with Sett. That's my guess on the line here. Though I guess he doesn't have any further buffs, so he can only clear that keeper. Thought he might have another buff waiting. But he does do the save line with Sett and pull Kiana back to the base. Bring himself to 1 by moving that first mate over to the other point. And passes it back to Caleb. So I saw a smoke screen there for Caleb. No good targets for that right now, but it's going to be very strong against Kiana when she probably moves in again next turn. But again, if Derek has a way to buff that Kiana, he can just keep saving her and driving card advantage while bleeding Caleb of his resources. Ahri is a fun deck. She's a lot of fun to play. She plays kind of a mid-rangey control type shell, trying to, drive card advantage with the blue, control with the green. We are at 2-2. Now that we've passed back to Derek. But like we said, Sett just makes your opponent make such difficult decisions, forcing really, really disadvantageous trades, inefficient trades, and we haven't seen a lot of the card draw coming from Caleb to try and make up for it. Got another showstopper. So we're going to see an exact repeat of last turn, but this time Kiana's not losing an additional, or no, she is. I'm sorry. Forgot we removed the Clockwork Keeper last turn, not the Ahri. So once again, we're looking at a 2 might Kiana coming into this 3 might Ahri plus the hidden card. So Derek must have an additional trick here. I see some Divine Judgments in hand. I think a Fiora. Interesting. Derek threw the Kiana in just to get bounced off. Not sure if we maybe had a math slip up there, or I may be missing a line he was going for. Or maybe he was trying to bluff Caleb into revealing that hidden card. That could be too. Moves the first mate back to base and passes it back over to Caleb, who's going to go to 3 victory points, holding for that Ahri. See if they remember. Three VPs for the Ahri. Reminding them with the microphone out there. I think they may have turned it off, though. They didn't hear me. Blitzcrank coming down into the point to hook. Okay, we got that point on the 3rd there, so that's good. So we're caught up there. And back to Derek. Pretty sure Derek doesn't play a 3rd showstopper, so I don't think we're going to see another, but there's plenty of other ways to buff units in the Sett deck. But she's just going to go over and take the easy point, tying him up at 3-3. And triggering Kiana to channel that rune Exhausted. Now the first mate coming down, probably going to, yep, ready that Kiana. I'm just going to pull her back. Now, without sufficient buff spells or removal like Hidden Blade, it's going to be very tough to shake that Ahri and that hidden card off that point. Passes back, we go to 4. So Derek's just kind of jumping in and out, getting the points where he can until he can get some removal. Blitzcrank bounces back to hand as he does in the beginning step. I'm sure Caleb plays them. If we see another Ahri come down, the other Ahri, the green Ahri, onto that point to start scoring him double points every turn, that's going to be pretty rough for Derek to deal with unless he can start drawing into some removal. But instead, we see a Ravenbloom student come down. Simple 2-for-2 unit that gets +1 when you play a spell. And a charm. Probably going to pull that Kiana up. Yep, here she comes into the grinder, and there she goes. And with a lack of buff sources and removal on Derek's side, he's fallen into a pretty rough position here. I see a Fiora in Derek's hand. Pass back over. See Divine Judgment, a Fiora. To see what else is in there. Maybe a Hidden Blade. I'm sure some of the viewers at home can see what's in there, what's in the rest of Derek's hand. My eyes aren't so good. But first mate's going to move in, and Derek's just going to keep bouncing back and forth, just trying to keep up until he can hopefully swing it back in his direction. Hey, YRG, thanks for joining us. Yeah, I'm glad we're covering it. This was kind of a last-minute decision. Got Sett moving in to reinforce that point, buff him up. Yeah, last-minute decision. We talked about it yesterday. Game's gaining a lot of popularity. I'm a huge fan of it. I've been playing it since before it came out, playing with proxies with the locals here. And there's a lack of Riftbound content out there for as popular as the game is. So we thought we've got the setup here. There's no reason not to cover it. Not when we're getting 20 people a week roughly for Riftbound. So here we are, and hopefully we'll keep doing it. So if you're listening on YouTube when we repost these, make sure to follow, leave a comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, so that the powers that be know we should keep doing it. And if you're on Twitch and you're not already following us, toss us a follow. Riftbound student, Ravenbloom student. Get there eventually. Ravenbloom student moving in to reinforce that Ahri point. I don't think that point is in much danger of being lost right now. Derek kind of holding his hand back, building up some resources, probably for a big swing here. Caleb in a much better position this game, not drained so much on resources. It's got rune stuff available. It's got the tasty Fae Folk sitting in his hand. Probably see that come down next turn unless he draws something better. I think he just drew his Ahri. That's pretty big. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree with that, YRG. Yeah, it's a great game. Mentioned it a couple times, but it's anytime you see long-term Magic players, picking up a game, drifting to a game, talking about the game, that's usually a good sign, because Magic players are picky in the other stuff that they play. But Riftbound, it has the interaction, it has the mechanical depth, and it has a ton of tactical strategy. So yeah, it's really taken off. They just need to print some more cards, because it is very hard to get into it right now. If you didn't buy your cards right away, you're in a tough spot of either waiting for the next print run or buying some very expensive singles. But Divine Judgment coming down. Derek? So got a bit of a reset from Derek, which is certainly what probably needed. So those unfamiliar, Divine Judgment is a bit of a time twister in a way. Each player chooses 2 units, 2 runes, 2 gear, and 2 cards in hand to keep them, and everything else goes away. Face down card, of course. That hidden card is not any of those things. So hidden cards do stay. Looks like they knew that, so that's good. Challenge coming down. We're going to have one of Derek's units, probably the Sett, swinging at, Sett swinging at the Ahri. And that is what Derek needed, because that Ahri's defensive ability is not going to help her there. But the Zhonya's flipped from revealed is going to save the Ahri unless Derek has got something to do about it, but it doesn't look like he does. So Ahri retreats back to base, recalled back to base, spent. But Sett pulling back. Do we have a first mate in hand, maybe? Doesn't look like it. Got to update us. We are at 7-5 now that we pass back to Caleb. Sorry about that slow update. We'll get that technology up and working next week, if not for later rounds today. And Ahri says, I'm coming back. Ooh, and there's that Ahri. One turn too late to really make the difference. Had she come down last turn, would have been able to win the game on this turn with that extra point. Ahri's extra point. Any kind of extra point generation in this game can win the game. It is not subject to the win on hold or double conquer restriction that winning is. Pass it back to Derek. We go to 6. Derek's in a tough spot here. He's going to have to shake Ahri off that point, but staring down a double Ahri with Ahri Legend and a hidden card, I'm not sure Derek has any outs here. He's going to move the Sett in probably. Burn the buff to give himself a big old +4. But he's still looking at a -3 if he moves into that battlefield before that Ahri's taken care of. Oh, but there's the Hidden Blade, and that's definitely going to be targeting that blue Ahri. Yep. Is it another Zhonya's? Oh, it's not. Consult the past. Derek doesn't really care about that. Cheap draw 2. Oh, but there's the Defy. Draws into the Defy with the Consult the past. Blowout. Yeah, and there's nothing Derek can do about that. Huge play there. Yeah, and we are going to game 3. Great game there from Caleb. What a great draw. The Consult the Past into the Defy to counter the Hidden Blade that would have otherwise given Derek that point and likely the game. Though Caleb did have the Tasty Fey Folk in hand, so there might have been something he could do there. But yeah, thank you so much again, everybody, for joining us tonight for Riftbound on Thursday night. First week we're doing it, like I've said, here at Impact Gaming Center in Fairview Heights, Illinois. If you're enjoying the content, leave a comment down below. Let us know. We'll keep doing it. Game's getting real popular, and I know people are hungry for the content, so yeah. Like, follow, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff while we wait for Caleb and Derek to get to game 3 of this match. Should be a good one. Last game was about as close as it could be. If you haven't been into Impact Gaming Center yet, if you're in the St. Louis area, come on by. You will have a good time, I promise. People always come in and always have the same reaction the first time they're in our store. They just kind of look around, dazed at the amount of space, the amount of product, all the great games, the typically dozens of people we've got back in our play area. So no matter what you do, whether you play Magic or Pokemon, Riftbound, board games, miniature games, we've got it all here. So come join us. Looks like our guys are getting ready here for game 3. Let me set our scores here. Willing to bet Derek's probably going to be taking the play here. He really needs to get his hands on a battlefield before Ahri can lock one down with all of her defensive triggers. Yep, I see 5 cards in Derek's hand, so he is definitely going first, I would say. Yep, here it comes. But Ahri, as a more control-oriented shell, does not mind going second terribly. That is one very cool thing about Riftbound. It doesn't really have the Magic problem, the Yu-Gi-Oh problem, where it's just I go first no matter what. if I'm given the choice, if I win the coin flip or the dice roll. There are a lot of decks in this game that want to go second, especially ramp-oriented shells. But we're back to Derek already for turn 3, sorry. Got the Kiana and buffed Cytheria, and then a Wallop. Burning that buff. Ready in our Kiana. I'd say we're going to see her move in. They may split. Nope. Good to just move in and hold that point. We're going to get a Kiana trigger. I'm guessing Derek's going to channel a rune. Yep, there it is. And we pass back to Caleb. Need to remember to update my win markers there. Players are 1-1 in round 2 of our Riftbound Nexus Night. All sorts of options from Caleb there. I see a Fey Mother. I think I see an On Guard, Tasty Fey Folk. Oh, Caleb pushes in for the attack on the Kiana and the Cytheria. Here comes the On Guard. Or, I'm sorry, the Discipline, not On Guard. Draw a card, give her a couple extra might. Drew into a Charm. Yeah, that's a trade we'll take. And then reinforce the point with a Poro. So once again, we are back to Caleb doing what Ahri does, which is taking a point and building it to a point where it really can't be taken back very easily. Got Sett come down with a showstopper, so we're going to buff that Sett. Ready him, move him in. Doesn't ready him, sorry, just moves him in. Sett is hit with the double Ahri triggers, one from the Legend, one from the Champion, nerfing his might back down considerably. He's probably just going to kill the Poro and then save him with the Sett. Yep, that's exactly what we see. Bounces everybody off the points. We are at 1-1. May see a Fae come down here. I think that's what we're doing. Yep. Get a little sprite token in play. Derek providing the sprite. Yep. Sprite moving in for a quick capture. For those unaware, it does have the temporary keyword, so it will die before he gets the point for holding it the following round. So Derek doesn't have a ton of motivation to remove it. Pit rookie, going to come in and buff the Sett. Yep, Sett's just going to go in for an easy capture, bringing it to 2-2. And reinforce it with a Soaring Scout. Saying, Caleb, if you want to take it back, you can go ahead, but I'm at least going to get something out of it with that Death Knell trigger. Sprite Mother's going to move in, score a quick point, and she does not have temporary, so be up to Derek whether or not he wants to deal with that. But much like a control deck in Magic, Ahri sitting with a handful of cards and open runes is a scary thing to start your turn seeing. But it looks like Ahri's going to tap out for the most part. And play a Blitz in and yank in the Pit Rookie for a quick kill. It's going to pass back to Derek, I think. Derek's going to tie it up again, 3-3. Of course, Blitz is going to bounce back to Caleb's hand at the beginning of his turn. See a Hidden Blade for Derek. There's some removal options. Do a Primal Rage instead. Give it to Sett, and Sett's probably going to gank right over. Here he comes. Primal Strength, of course, making Sett huge, even with Ahri's defensive triggers. Still plenty big enough to take that point, clear it out, and clear that Blitzcrank before it can return safely to Caleb's hand. And that's really what you've got to do against Ahri. If you can clear that Ahri off of a point and put Ahri on the back foot, it can be very tough for Ahri to take those points back. Pretty much all of Ahri's legend abilities, champion abilities are all defensive in nature, whether it's holding a point to score, holding a battlefield to score an extra point, or giving an enemy -2 and they swing into you. Offense is a harder thing for this deck. Caleb with a handful of cards, considering. Looks like a Thousand Tail Watcher, maybe a Tasty Fey Folk. Charm. Interesting. Trying to charm the scout off that battlefield, but Derek says, no thank you. I will take 2 cards and a channeled rune instead. Ravenbloom Student and a Clockwork Keeper coming down for Caleb. Trying to build some sort of offense here to take back some points. Derek takes the lead up to 5-3. Now Caleb is sitting in a bit in the seat that Derek was previously, which is he's now not only going to have to take a point, he's going to have to shake Derek off of his, or he's just going to lose to rounds. Here comes the Fiora. Derek knows what he needs to do. He's just got to hold that point for a few more turns. Comes the Cithria. And the Pit Rookie to buff the Fiora, I'm sure. Yep, got all the buff procs coming down. Pulls the Sett back. Fiora, now that she's mighty, has deflect, so incurs a power cost if Caleb wants to deal with her in a spell-related manner. She also has shield 1, so Caleb attacks into her. She is going to be 6 might and buffed, obviously, so Derek can always save her with his Sett legend ability. Yep, and that's what Derek's explaining right now, is if you attack in, she will be a 6. It looks like an On Guard in hand. He's doing some math, probably thinking about that On Guard plus Ravenbloom Student plus the Ravenbloom Student trigger, which would get Ravenbloom Student to a 5, so not quite big enough to trade. Wouldn't be an ideal trade anyway. Clockwork Keeper. Another Thousand Tail Watcher. That's not going to do much good right now. I'm going to push both in. I think we're going to see that On Guard come out. Yeah, and there it is. On Guard probably targeting the Ravenbloom Student, I would guess. Ravenbloom Students will proc that extra might. Yep, and trades for the Fiora, saving him with the legend ability, just like we talked about. And plays another Ravenbloom Student. That's a tough play there, I think. You're really just 3 for 1 in yourself and not gaining much for it. Does keep Derek from holding the point for a 6th point. Potentially buying himself another turn. Otherwise, he would have held for 6 there and potentially conquered for the 7th and only needed to hold 1. He's going to conquer and go to 7. Now Derek's just got to hold 1. Got a first mate in hand, and hard to see what that other one was. Passes back to Caleb. See what Caleb can do here. He's got to knock him off both these points. And I don't know that Ahri has any outs here to be able to do that. Even Thousand Tail Watcher isn't going to be able to get him off both. Don't believe. Though it may be able to, actually, if we accelerate it out. Yep. There it is. Didn't think Caleb had enough for the accelerate, but he must have had exact. So Caleb's going to be able to hold on here for one more turn unless Derek's holding something spicy. That is pretty spicy. That is a call to glory, so he's given a unit +3. Bounces him off there, and I think that's pretty much all Derek needed. Gonna go there. Derek says, sure. Yep, you clear my point. You're gonna pass to me. I'm gonna hold for 8, and that is probably gonna be it. Yep, and that is it. There's the fist bump. Good show of sportsmanship here out at Impact Gaming Center. So great round there from Ahri into Sett. Close game in all 3 of those games. But thank you so much for joining us. Whether I'm going to see you next time or see you in the next round or the next video, whatever the case may be. Thank you for joining us here at Impact Gaming Center for our Riftbound Nexus Nights. Make sure to hit that like, follow, subscribe, comment, hit all the buttons. And we will see you next time. Peace.